One of the things that one of my professors told me, and he invested a lot of time in his students, and he said, "If you truly want something, you have to go and own it. People aren't gonna be doing it for you." And I think about, like, study groups and stuff like that, and it's just I was waiting for someone to invest in me, but in reality, I need to go out and get it. And so a group of us had started the university's first ethical hacking club, and looking back at that now, almost I would say we're heading a half a decade plus, that's still a thing that students can actually be involved in and get experience and be competitive with Capture the Flag. And then also women in cyber. Now we're doing community outreach and everything else. And it's a really cool concept to see, like taking your passions and just running with it. And after my university, I would say, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I'm in corporate, I see all these amazing people on LinkedIn, they're doing public speaking and stuff like that. And I had graduated with my master's with my research. And so I said, you know what? There is a local cyber event called B-Sides Kansas City. I'm going to go submit a call for paper. And how B-Sides Kansas City does it, they have 3 rounds of, I would say, the approval process for their papers. I didn't make the first one. And I was like, oh, yay. Oh, darn. I can't go do this. And then the second round, I got accepted. And that was so scary. Public speaking was so scary to me back then. And I remember walking up, I was shaky with my mic and everything else. And I was practicing my presentation so much, I was reciting it in my sleep. And I did completely fine. And in fact, after that presentation, I had someone come up to me and they're like, "Hey, we have another event. We had a speaker drop. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Yeah." And of course, that led to so many other opportunities, like my current employer, my podcasting. Now I'm traveling around the world to go speaking and giving opportunities like this for you guys to hear about my journey and know that it's okay to take risk. And that's essentially some of the lessons from my career. I was very insecure with who I was because I didn't know my passions, I didn't know my interests. And once I figured out my passions, especially within cyber, I really invested my time in making sure I was a master of my craft. I was getting out of my comfort zone. I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to be uncomfortable. In fact, like the really smart people I worked with, my goal was to be like, I want them to ask me questions. So, how can I get there? And so I just kind of watched and learned and started asking how they did things so that way I can make it my own. And I eventually stopped comparing myself to others. I wanted to be who I was. I wanted to be my own brand. And I wanted people to essentially look at me for inspiration for their own journey.